changes around here a little bit and dives down 3/4. If it stays in that direction, it's going to be rough as hell to be beating into the wind 500 miles. This is going to be a really, really rough trip. I said, you know, really, this particular trip calls for a port tack over to Morocco and come over the coast of Morocco. And I looked the whole thing over. It's the direct shot. We can be there in 48 hours from Lanzarote. I think you know, that's the right call. And by the way, the way to do this really is ask forgiveness later rather than permission now. And so I said, who's on board? So we're all on board with this one, okay? And so we call ourselves this is the Plan B group, okay? And so this represented the idea of going to Morocco to Africa. And by the way, I have an article on this in Sail Magazine. The first sentence of the article is, if you're taking a charter boat to a different continent than the company is expecting, you better have a good explanation. And so, sure enough, they weren't expecting us to go to Africa. But you know, I did look over the documents and the insurance, and there was no exclusion to Africa. So I thought to myself, you know, let's consider that a green light, and let's go to Africa. So sure enough, we knew also, looking at the track of the wind, the first 24 hours is going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty good. But the second 24 hours, that night, we knew it was going to be rough. We knew from the weather thing, the storm front's coming that direction, it is going to be rough. And frankly, had this not been such a hardcore crew, one of the women, Holly, has been with me on how many trips? 6, 7 trips, ocean passage making trips. She's a very good sailor. Wolfgang is excellent. And so we had very experienced people here. So part of my decision making was we had a very good crew, solid boat, it was almost brand new boat, and I thought this would be a hell of an adventure. So anyway, we sailed over there, and the second night, sure enough, it's blowing hard. It is rough. Everyone's doing a 3-hour shift, 6 hours off, like that kind of sequence. It's nighttime. They're having a shift. I get a yell about 3 o'clock in the morning. What has happened is that all these boats have, you know, a dodger in the front, but also a bimini to prevent you from hitting the sun hitting you. Okay. What happened is the zipper and the back split, and it's high wind, and the zipper and the canopy is slapping the people at the helm like it's coming back. And so I get up and I see the people at the helm in the back of the boat are holding like this. They're getting slapped by this thing. And, oh my God, John, what's your... Okay, so I get dressed, I come up, and what I do is I say, hey, let's wrap this up. So we wrap this thing up, get rid of the thing, take it together, duct tape the thing together, etc. Get it out of the way entirely. Took probably a half hour, 45 minutes, pretty aggressive thing. Wolfgang and Dorothy never woke up for this one. They were all asleep. The rest of us seemed like a lot of noise, but we wrapped it up and we kept on going. And by the way, before we did that, one of the things that I recommend you do in emergency situations like that, turn the boat downwind. That also decreases apparent wind, doesn't it? So it decreases apparent wind. So what happened is, once you start, and I knew in the middle of this, it is really blowing out there. We come around and say, okay guys, time to come, once you finish it, once that repair was done, we have to come back upwind. Okay guys, come upwind. We're coming upwind, I look down the anemometer, it's blowing 56 knots. You know, so this is serious. We're at 25, 30-foot waves. We have them forward of the beam, 56 knots. The waves are breaking over the bow. Very rough conditions, and that's what that's the situation we had. And so the crew was great though, changing shifts, and in the morning about, I forget what time in the morning, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, we finally saw Africa. The winds were finally dying as you get closer in, and we were coming into Agadir. Let me just go in here. Let me move ahead here. This is at sea here. In the very distance there, you can see the Lanzarote receding in the distance. The other two of the guys all bundled up. This is Atlantic crossing here in terms of this particular stretch of area. Very tough. We put up that canopy there, by the way. Wolfgang brought this thing. We got a thing in Lanzarote to prevent extra spray hitting us. This material there. That's Wolfgang. Waves. Waves. Photographs don't do waves justice, but that's just the feeling of the ocean there. Moving along the big sea there, it's a big seas there. Now there's even worse. You kind of see the steepness of it, you know. And by the way, you know, you can't take a photograph at nighttime. You know what I mean? Photographs of waves at nighttime or don't do it justice. The engine, for some reason, I'm not sure we have that in the photograph in there. That's the Jaguar. I was doing something there, I forget what. That's a North African book. That's when we left it, by the way. When I left Canary, in the very beginning, we had all the charts that the book gave us, which were all Spanish charts, and the Portuguese island of Madeira, and of course the Spanish coast. And then in Gibraltar, we didn't have anything for North Africa. I got just as a precaution, I had one big chart of the entire area from Gibraltar to Canaries, but I also bought the book of North Africa. Without that book, we couldn't have done this trip. Could not have done it. That's the North Africa book. And that's our log book on the right-hand side. It's quite a log book to look over. And that is our shot here. That's Agadir. You see the whole chart? You see the run there? So essentially, we had winds from the north, and we're going upwind to get into Agadir. And when we finally get into Agadir, more stuff there. Let me go back there a little bit. Okay. Anyway, Agadir was quite a place. What happens is, we're checking into Agadir. They get very few Americans in Agadir, and very few charter boats. They don't know quite what to do with this. But Agadir turns out to be a very high-end, developed place. You're looking to get tourists from up in Europe and things. Beautiful, beautiful small marina. And we originally went to the fishing place. It was kind of crowded, kind of looked kind of run down. So we maneuvered the boat around. So we found this beautiful area. We come in there and we go to the harbor master, and of course you wait for the customs guys to come in. You have the immigration, customs, etc. come down. And each of the places we were at, in Agadir, and Assuera, the next town, Casablanca, etc., all of them, it was about a 2-hour situation. And a couple of people spoke French really well. Very few of them spoke English. Some of them did. It was about a 2-hour. They were very interested in what our occupations were. Why, I have no idea. You know, but they had lots of questions and different things. And halfway through, we're sitting around this table there in Agadir, and halfway through it, the customs guy asked Holly if she would marry him. And without batting an eye, I mean, right at me with no lag time, she said, "You know, my last proposal was for 80 camels. You got to do better than that." I mean, without any hesitation, she was right there with that. It was just, she said, okay. So there's a photograph I think later with the two of them in the boat. So it was just, you know, so many different things happened along the way with this trip on a personal, interpersonal basis. It was astounding. Okay, absolutely astounding. Okay, so this is Agadir, and let's go along here. And by the way, one thing we did find that was great in Lazaro, in Agadir rather, we met a guy called David Latham. He was a British guy, and he knew the coast very well. He knew North Africa intimately. He'd been a lot of years in Libya. He worked for British oil companies. And so, I must say, when you travel around, you do run into more Brits than anybody else. They're out there, and it's amazing how much wealth of information they are. And he really did give some very good advice about traveling north, about the whole entire coast of Morocco, which he knew quite well. Again, I guess this is here, we're leaving Agadir. And what we're doing here is we're leaving Agadir. Let's see here. Now, some of these are probably... Oh, you know, part of this is actually coming into Agadir. Now, this is actually, some of these are looking at it, this is actually coming to Agadir. That thing on the right-hand side looks like a small lighthouse. That's the entrance to Agadir. That's one of the big catamarans right there. Oh, that's Holly and the guy there. Okay? There, we totally give a photograph, you know. Needless to say, Holly did not marry him. Okay? That's us on the hill. And you see behind it, by the way, what a high-end kind of interesting place this is. You know, this is, we'll see older places later on, but this is actually a very nice, modern, you know, it looks like a San Diego type of condo type thing, you know. This is not some village hut out there, okay? And on the hillside, by the way, there's something in Arabic on the hillside, the dirt. You see the dirt in the background there?